Hello guys, now the saving time is soon coming to an end and the investing time is beginning. You've been saving your money from January up to at the end of this year, and you're planning to start a poultry farm. How much money do you think it is going to cost you to start at least a small poultry farm of 120 birds? You are welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to give you at least a picture of how much money you will need to be able to start a small poultry farm and sustain it and grow it. You are welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are watching me for the very first time, my name is Asperia and I'm a very passionate poultry farmer. Let's dive into it right away. If you're planning to be a poultry farmer, first of all, this is a very good season for you because right now in most of the regions, they're harvesting maize, or they have already harvested, and the prices of maize are really favorable right now because they're affordable. And so if you want to start poultry, you must target a time when the feeds are actually very affordable, because what will determine the cost of production, actually the major part of investment in poultry, like the biggest cost of production, is on feeding. So when a maize is very expensive, you realize that it is going to be very costly for you as a beginner. And so when the maize is cheap, it's very easy for you to start because the food is going to be very affordable. When you look at the prices of the concentrates that we use, they are always constant. Sometimes they reduce a little bit, they go high a little bit, but the prices are usually constant. They don't fluctuate like the maize prices. Now, if you are planning to start, then plan very fast. Now, first of all, what do you have? Sometimes you can save until forever. You keep procrastinating, keep pushing things until you will never start. So I would advise you that you start small, learn, and then grow with time, instead of you keeping your money without being used, or sometimes you get a problem and spend it in a wrong way. Now better invest it and start small and keep growing your farm like I'm doing in my farm. And so what do you have right now apart from the money that is in your bank account? How much what do you have else? Do you have a poultry house, or what are you planning? Do you have any abandoned house that you're not using, or you are going to start from scratch? If you're starting from scratch, now this is going to be a little bit expensive for you because you will need to build at least a poultry house. Now, building a poultry house like mine here is not going to be really very costly, but again, it will also depend on where you are and the cost of the building materials in your locality. Probably, maybe, how much do you buy the iron sheets that side? How do you want the poultry house to be? With a poultry house, you can make it as simple as possible. When you look at ours, we have used the iron sheets, and we have used the chicken mesh, and also the chain link. We have also used somehow bricks on the foundation, and we are good to go. So look around, go to the shops, especially the hardwares, and check the price of nails, check the price of iron sheets, and then you can now have a budget about how much you need to set up at least a small kitchen, a small chicken house. Now, if you're going or starting with 100, you don't need to have a very big house. I'm going to show you inside, and you see a room that can be able to accommodate close to 150 birds, how big it is, and then that can help you know the size of the house that you might need to construct. And then if you have a house, like if you have any abandoned house, maybe there is a house that they are not using, you can actually improve that house, and then you'll be able to bring your birds and start the project. And if you are going to do broilers are actually very easy for you because they do not need like a really a serious house. You can actually rent a room and you improve on the aeration, and then you'll be able to bring your birds, because broilers are not going to take long on the farm. They're actually going to take 6 weeks or 8 weeks on the farm. You have already sold. While for layers, you might need to have organized house, because these ones are going to take 2 years or plus on your farm. So look around and say in the comment section what you have. If you have a house, let me know. If you do not have, let me know also, and then I know how much, like how better I can give you a budget on whatever is going to help you build the house. And another thing you need to know, it also depends on what you want to do. You know, sometimes we might want to have cheap options, like for example, you want a cheap house, or you want to use cheap things like cheap feeders, cheap drinkers, and in the long run they end up becoming very expensive. For example, if you look into my poultry house, you look at the drinkers, the feeders that I'm using. At first they look like they're very, very expensive, but then later they turned out to be very cheap because they have served for a longer time. And so you can buy these other cheap feeders, and yet they pour food down, and they cause a lot of wastage. Eventually you realize that they are not cheap as you thought. So start small, like buy a few things slowly, gather them, and so by the time you bring the birds, you already have the feeders, you already have the drinkers. Now for if you want to start like 120 birds, you don't need too much. You actually need like 3 drinkers and also like 3 to 4 feeders. That could be enough for your house, because that is enough. If you buy big ones, at least each feeders can accommodate close to 15 hens or more than that. And sometimes some of them do not eat at the same time, you know. So don't feel stressed about starting. Just look for a way of starting. Or else, if you have a smaller room somewhere, you can actually start with small number. Like you can start with 50 and learn brooding. Brooding is very hard. Like it is very hard for the first time. But once you learn, as you save money for a bigger project, when the bigger project starts, you're not going to struggle because you will already have the knowledge about brooding. So in any way, strive to start a poultry farm in 2026. And you know, and then I'm still giving you a picture of how much you might need. Now if you already have the house, we have already talked about the housing. Maybe now that you know what you need iron sheets, you need nails, you need poles, you need labor, and you need space. If you have all that available, then after that you will need chicks. Now the chicks depends on where you're getting them from, the company that is going to supply you with these chicks, and also the brand of the chicks that you want. There's so many people producing chicks today, but for me, my case, I preferred this breed because I have had or seen testimonies from people who are doing them, and they did really great. And so when I was doing my reading about which breed should I bring, I was able to be convinced to bring this one because of the testimonies that people have had. So you zero down to which breed that you want. Write down in the comment section and let me know. Mine here, I'm going to write it also in the comment section, and then you'll be able to learn. So after that, you're going to know how much each chick is going to cost you. For instance, for my case, each chick was costing 5,000 Uganda shillings. And so when you're bringing 120, a simple calculation, that is close to 750 plus transport and you know everything. So 750 alone for your bird, just chicks, and these chicks are given to you at day 1, you know. So make sure you have the money to feed. So after looking at the chicks, you also need to have, I assume you already have both things to use inside, like the brooder. You have set up the brooder. The brooder is not hard to set up. You can actually use boxes, you can use the brooder paper, you can use timber, you can use plywood. You can make this brooder very easy for you. You don't have to complicate things because the chicks are very young and they're going to take only about 28 days in that brooder. So it is not supposed to be very complicated. So after making the brooder, like after getting the brooder, you already have the feeders, the drinkers. What else do you need? You need money for feeding. And so feeds are going to, you know, be changing depending on the age and the size of your birds. So for day one, from day 1 up to day 7, they are going to be on pre-starter, and usually pre-starter you just buy when they have already made it. It is very affordable. It is not very much. Now, like 120 birds, they actually do not want a whole sack because they're only going to eat it for about 7 days, and every day they don't even consume 2 kilograms. They just consume, they are now still learning, so it is very cheap. And then after that, you have also to keep changing the feeds. They are going now to start eating maize. You have to buy the maize, you have to learn on mixing everything, and that is going to be a bit costly for you. But then, like I said, if you love something, you will always invest in starting it and learning it and making it grow. So you might need some good money for you to be able to do the poultry project. So if you want to begin in 2026, I would advise you to begin small and then keep on enlarging the farm as you grow, because once you begin big, you might reach in the middle and you do not have money enough to feed these birds. And with these layers, if you fail on feeding, then they also fail on production. They do not produce well and you eventually make total losses. So make sure you have money prepared enough for your birds to eat. And also after that, you will need money also for vaccination. Vaccination is very vital in the poultry farming. If you do not vaccinate your birds, then you're going to make a lot of losses. Birds are going to die or they are going to get sick, and eventually the production is not going to be good. So you must vaccinate them every time. Now for layers, because they're going to be for 2 years in your compound or in the farm, now you have to vaccinate them regularly. Now from day 1 up to 7, from 7 up to 14, from 14 up to 21, they are going to be vaccinated. And vaccines are not cheap, but then they are not very expensive. They can be really affordable. But then you have to plan on money for vaccination. And then from there, as the chickens keep growing, sometimes sickness will hit in. You should have some money reserved around so that in case the sickness comes, you're able to treat. And then as they grow, they're going to start laying eggs. You will need to have laying boxes. And so laying boxes, you're going also to need some money to someone to come and do for you, so that the boxes are they're enough for the birds to be able to lay eggs inside. And some of the things that you will need like, for example, tarpaulins, because most of the poultry houses, we make them open for better aeration because they don't need too much heat. And so because sometimes it rains, we use these tarpaulins to cover in case it rains, so that the rain does not affect the hens. So you need some things that you can even buy slowly. By the time you start the project, now you already have all of them. By now you already know what you need. You need some things, and when you look at on the look of things, these things can be, gotten. They are not really hard. They are not very expensive. They can be gotten. So be encouraged, and don't use all your savings in Christmas. Make sure you reserve money to start a poultry farm, however small it will be. This is going to help you learn more and then keep investing and growing. I believe you found something helpful in this video, and if you have any question, put it in the comment section and then I'll be glad to help you. But then for now, thank you so much for watching, and subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed. I love you so much. Goodbye.